Hi guys, welcome to the Darkness channel and don't forget to like and subscribe. The growling sounds from my stomach brought me back to my sense and I hurried back to my car, realizing I was now completely drenched by the rain and freezing to the bones. I couldn't wait to change into some dry clothes and sit down in front of the warm fire back at the cabin. On my way back, I remembered that I still had the agent's number in my list of recently called numbers on my phone. He did say I could call if I have any questions. I called him up to check what had happened to their office, but as soon as I hit dial, I got familiar tone of number that had been disconnected. That's odd, I thought. I'll try him again tomorrow. The whole drive back I couldn't shake the comments from the old man in my grocery store. He really sounded like he meant what he said. He sounded almost scared for my well-being, like he knew something I didn't. Should I go back and talk to him? What did he mean by "that's what they all say"? Who? I decided I would speak to him again next time I got into town, as I was far too hungry, wet, and tired to turn the car around now. When I got back to the cabin, I parked the car and quickly went inside. I was so hungry I was about to pass out. I went into the kitchen and found a saucepan that didn't look so nasty. I cleaned it up as good as I could and started to fry some egg and bacon, the best I could find in that small store. I noticed the old oil lamp on the kitchen table that I had brought up from the dirt cellar. I wondered if the old owners had left any lamp oil laying around and started to look around the kitchen shelves. After moving some stuff around, I found a bottle with some fluid left in it and filled up the lamp and lighted. It gave a real cozy light and a nice smell. I left it on the kitchen table while finishing making my late dinner. I sat down to eat while looking out into the darkness that had settled over the lake. The rain crashing down on the surface like someone was throwing hands full of pebbles with all their might into the lake. The wind stripping up, white foamy waves going all directions at the same time, crashing into each other with force, sending the foamy droplets flying and joining the rain from above. The cabin was moaning and creaking in the wind, and the rain was hitting the windows so hard I almost started to worry it could break the thin glass panes by the sheer impact. I started to think about the cellar beneath me. It really was a strange place to have an office. No windows, cold and dark. I needed to investigate it further, I thought. I finished my dinner and placed the dishes in the sink. Before I checked out the cellar, I had to put some more wood on the fire. You could really start to feel that this was an old place. Not great insulation, especially in weather conditions like these. If the fire went out, it would get real cold in here, real fast. I went out into the living room. The fire was almost dead already, red embers glowing. It was dark. In the window by the front door, the same window that you could see in the painting over the fireplace, was an old ugly lamp with a dark orange lampshade. I went over and turned it on. It flickered a bit but lit up after a while. It didn't do much to illuminate the room though. It seemed its light only reached as far as the window and back, turning that small part of the room sickeningly orange. I went over to the fireplace and found 2 big logs in the basket next to it. These will do fine, I thought, and toasted them on the fire. As I turned to go back to the kitchen and down to the cellar, I saw out of the corner of my eyes the painting. There's a light in the window. I remember thinking I did a double take and looked over there again. No, there's no light. There's no woman and no light. My mind is playing tricks on me. I thought, must be all this fresh air or internet abstinence or something. I went back into the kitchen and rolled up the carpet to reveal the hatch underneath. I grabbed the handle and pulled it open again. This time, I didn't have the agent's flashlight to guide me. I had to take the oil lamp with me. It didn't light up anywhere near as well as a flashlight, but it was better than nothing. I got down and started to look around. The desk was an old messy wooden desk, oak, I think. How on earth did they get this down here through that narrow hatch and that steep staircase? I wondered. The floor was basically just packed dirt. The walls were made of wood, the same kind as the rest of the cabin. You could smell the rain from outside, being soaked up by the wet ground on the other side of the walls. Two big bookshelves stood to my right, both packed with books, and they are all in the same category as the books upstairs. Crystals, demons, witches, and stuff like that. Some of them looked extremely old with cracked spines, all leather bound. I pulled one of the older booking ones out and below the dust of the cover, there was a faded image of a mountain top in the foreground with what looked like a fire behind it. I flipped through the pages. It was written in some foreign language I couldn't understand. It looked like nothing I had ever seen before. I put it back and continued to check out the inventory. I thought I could see something that stood out against these old spines, tucked away in the back. I removed them and held the oil lamp up to get better look. There, in the back of the shelf, was another book, but this one seemed to be a bit newer than the other. It had no title, no image on the front. In fact, it looked more like a diary than a book. I got intrigued. It was too dark to read down there, so I went to bring the book with me upstairs again. I turned around toward the staircase, but the second I set foot on the first step, the hatch above me slammed shut with such force it shook the ceiling. I got so startled, I dropped the book and damn near dropped the lamp as well. I rushed up the stairs and tried to open it, but it wouldn't give way. It lifted a few inches, then slammed shut again, almost like someone was standing on it above. I swear I heard a giggle, like before, only closer. I started to freak out and was about to yell out for help when I realized there was no one around for miles. I was alone in the dark, damp cellar. The claustrophobic panic started to set in again, but as quickly as it had started, it stopped. Suddenly, the weight lifted, and I could open the hatch again. I flung it open and quickly went down and got the book back up from the floor and rushed back upstairs again, where I just threw myself on the kitchen floor and lay there breathing for a while, wondering what the hell just happened. I got up and closed the hatch behind me and went into the living room and sat down in the leather couch in front of the fire. Outside, the weather had not at all started to settle. It seemed only to get worse. I placed the book on the table and got up from the couch and walked over to the big windows overseeing the lake. trying to shake the sudden rush of adrenaline out of my system while watching the storm rip into the surrounding forest outside. I worried a bit if the huge trees near the cabin could withstand such broad force. What if one of the trees would fall over in the wind? It would turn this cabin into tinder in the blink of an eye. Alcohol. I need alcohol. I thought and remembered that I had packed a bottle of scotch in one of my bags. I got it out and found a glass in the kitchen. I poured myself a real generous drink and went back to the couch and took a big sip. Was it all in my head? Was I imagining? Was I freaking myself out with all these incidents? The old lady, the painting, the agency being boarded up, the man from the grocery store and his warnings, the hatch, the all weird box. I took another sip, then turned to the diary. I opened it up and read the first 2 sentences. I'm writing this so that people will know what happened and what drove me to do what I did. I'm writing this as a warning so that no one else will follow in my footsteps, it said. It continued, but if you're reading this, chances are it's already too late for you. If you have come so far as to have found the cellar and the diary, then you probably already have signed the contract. I looked up. I had the strangest feeling of being watched. I looked around, but I was alone. I went back to reading. The rain outside hammering down on the roof and windows. If you sign the contract, it's too late. You have already given yourself to her. You probably already know who I mean. You've seen her out of the corner of your eye. Maybe in the cabin, maybe in the woods, maybe even in the goddamn painting over the fireplace. I looked up at the painting. No light in the window, no woman. I kept reading. That damn painting is cursed. I threw it on the fire only to find it back on the wall the next day. And that was just a start. I tried to get away, but it was pointless. No matter how I tried, I still ended up where I had started, in that fucking cabin. I have now realized that there is only one way out. Tonight, I am going to end it myself. I'll hang myself in the cellar. I won't let her win. She can't have me, or my soul, or whatever it is she wants from me. I'm going out on my own terms. I'm sorry to say, but if you're reading this, you're probably going to want to do the same. I shut the book hard. What the hell is this? I thought. This must be some sort of prank from the previous owners. I heard something, like something slowly being slid over the rough surface. I stood up and gulped down the rest of the glass with one big sip. Out of the corner of my eye, I saw my coffee mug suddenly flying across the room from the mantelpiece, crashing into the opposite wall in a million pieces. Fuck this, I said out loud. I'm going home. I grabbed my jacket and bolted out of the door and ran for the car. The wind was almost lifted me off the ground and the rain felt like I was being hit by 1,000 teeny nails. I could swear I heard a distant voice in the wind. I got into my car and turned the key. It wouldn't start. I tried again and again and again. No luck. It was dead. Damn it. I screamed and got out again and started to run up the dirt road. The second I turned my back to the car, a huge branch broke from the trees just above and came crashing down, straight through the windshield of my car, into the driver's seat. Holy shit! I exclaimed as I fell backward into the mud. I struggled to find a grip in the slippery surface, eventually getting myself up again and immediately started to run up the dirt road. I find a right once I hit the main road, I thought. It felt like everything around me was trying to stop me from leaving. The wind and rain were almost too much to run against. The branches from the surrounding tree seemed to reach out after me like bony fingers snagging me, trying to grab onto me. I ran and ran and ran. Man, was this road always this long? After running for at least 15 minutes in the straight line, I saw a light ahead. Finally, I thought maybe it's a car. I ran faster. I gave everything I had. Then, in disbelief, I fell to my knees. The light in front of me wasn't a car. The light was coming from the old ugly lamp in the window of the cabin. How? I hadn't made a single turn. How could I be back? I looked behind me to get my bearings. There, in the distance, I thought I saw someone standing in the middle of the road. But as soon as I tried to focus and look closer, it seems like the person disintegrated and blew away like leaves in the wind. I got up and ran back to the cabin. I went back in and locked the door and fell to the floor, panting and trying to wipe the mud and rain out of my face. I need a plan. I need to get out of here. What the hell is this place? My mind was racing. My thoughts were interrupted by the painting, all of a sudden falling to the floor with a loud crash. I got up and slowly went to pick it up, but dropped it as soon as I looked at it. There, in the painting, was a woman standing outside the cabin, right outside the front door, clear as day. I stumbled back and fell down on the couch. I slowly turned my head towards the front door and saw the door handle slowly turn. I flew up to make sure the door was locked and slowly backed away again. The door handle suddenly stopped moving, but was immediately replaced with the sound of the old typewriter behind me, typing. I turned my head and to my display watch as the letters were being pressed down, one by one, by some invisible force. I slowly made my way over there and looked down on the paper. You are mine, you are mine, you are mine. Over and over. I couldn't believe what I was seeing and glanced over to the kitchen. The back door, I thought. I had to make another try to get out of here. I took off into the kitchen and out the door. Once again, I slid down into the mud, got myself back up again and took off to my left into the woods and alongside the shore of the lake. There's bound to be another house somewhere along the shore, I thought. I tripped and fell, got branches in my face, and tore my jacket on the thorn, but I didn't stop. After about 20 minutes, I saw a clearing up to my left, up in the woods. It looked like a camping spot. Maybe there's someone there that can help me, I thought. I tried to move as quiet and quick as I could, while doing my best to keep the rain out of my face. But when I came to the clearing, it was empty. No sign of anyone being there anytime lately. There were, however, markings and carvings on the trees all around the clearing. I got up closer. It looked like the same language that I had found in the old book. Almost Latin, but not quite. 3 rows of text on one tree, and some weird carvings. It was hard to make out in the darkness, but it looked like a crescent moon and something else. In the middle of the clearing, there was a big stone circle on the ground. Twins bound together, resting on the trees. What the hell is this? Thanks for staying till the end. Please subscribe to more stories.